Hello, everyone. Just a quick announcement about a couple of things I have coming up that I'm really, really convicted, excited, passionate about, and wanted to share. The first thing is a 90-minute free masterclass, and this is going to be on transforming emotional triggers and patterns. Well, technically transmuting them. As you've probably noticed, we've been doing a lot of episodes on shadow work and looking at our patterns. And it was so interesting. As I was in Iceland recently for 2 weeks, I had a lot of time to look at my own patterns that were emerging. Also to take a hard look at threads and patterns in my own research as it relates to emotionality, holistic emotional healing, putting the body out of a stress response into a healing response, activating healing, all the stuff around healing, and looking at the trigger response cycle. So it was so interesting. As I was alone in Iceland, I was faced with, my greatest fear, which is being alone, but it's also something I deeply crave, having that alone time. And so in the quiet emerged in this, what I now call my silent solo retreat, longest I've ever been by myself, the most remote place I've ever been, the most quiet place I've ever been. So what emerged from that really was this masterclass, and I'm calling it the Spring Rebirth Out of the Shadows into the Light. So it's May 24th. And if you want to register for that, it's at standspeakshine.com/masterclass. standspeakshine.com/masterclass. The Spring Rebirth Out of the Shadows into the Light. So we're going to talk about how at the most basic level, our unhealed emotions are patterns. They manifest as dense material matter in the body. And when somebody bumps up against those unconscious patterns, we get triggered. And I'm going to talk about how to circumvent the trigger cycle before it becomes biochemically active in your body. This is something I've been studying for 20 plus years, trying to crack the code on depression, mental illness, and really suffering. Really becoming more convinced than ever that separation is at the root of all suffering. So how do we forge connectivity? And you can even call it reconnectivity. But the lie and the illusion is that we are separate. So we never were disconnected. We just believed that we were. And so sometimes you trick the mind body in above board ways, not manipulative ways. You trick the mind body. You hack the nervous system to be able to tell it that you're safe so that you can look at the patterns and so they can be naturally released and transmuted without a lot of pomp and fanfare. And I'm all about that, really this regenerative, restorative model versus like going and re-traumatizing yourself. So I'm going to really offer some practical things in that 90 minutes that you can begin to employ right away to see a measurable result. And I'm all about practical. I'm all about results. So that's my first announcement. And the second announcement really goes right in line with this masterclass, coming out of the shadows into the light and wanting to forge connectivity. What I've always wanted to create is a sacred space for women where we get really intentional in a focused container that's very safe and tribal. I mean, most of our healing is done in our private chambers, and you can go off by yourself and do your own healing that way. But the research is showing that when you are already in your own process and then you gather with women who are in their own private process, there's a synergy that happens that actually magnifies the effects of each of the individual members who are gathering. So I have always wanted to create a sacred circle for women, and this is called Women's Wisdom Circle. Our opening ceremony is June 19th, and it's solstice week. Our closing ceremony is on December 1st. Coming at the beginning of summer and moving into right as we're ready to enter the holidays is going to be a powerful, focused container of a 6-month journey where we do perfect healing sessions together. I give transmissions and teachings. We do soul prompt sessions. In between, we're working with the new and full moons, working with the cycles of nature. Has been such a pivotal piece for this feminine rising energy that we're now seeing. And so anyway, that will be part of our work together. I'm gathering from multiple sources in this. Mystery schools, feminine wisdom traditions, apprenticeships I've done. We've gathered so much information, and now we just need to let the body do its work alchemically. And when we're in a supportive container, like the sacred circle of other women of like minds who are all in their own healing journeys and working in that focused container privately, again, bringing it together in a synergy is where you start to see the greatest result. So I'm very, very excited to bring in these perfect healing sessions, working with emotion, working with intentionality, creating fields of awareness, really calling in the vibrational signature of your soul path is what I like to call it. So for those of you who have been in transition, or you're kind of looking at like, okay, what's next? I've kind of fallen apart, or I'm in the process of falling apart. Really, that descent journey, we hold space for that too. We also move you forward so that you can claim your soul voice, that you can step confidently into your soul path and actually define what that is for you. So everyone that comes into the Women's Wisdom Circle in that 6 months, you can expect to not only notice a measurable shift in some pervasive chronic block or what have you, but not only shifting and healing patterns that are holding you back from your fullest expression, but also expecting that you can receive a very strong sense of clarity around your soul purpose, your life mission, whatever you want to call it. And I'm talking about like your next enlightened action step in terms of purpose. I'm not talking about the purpose in the roles that you play. If you have a stirring within you to help to relieve suffering on this planet, if you feel called to be a light worker in some way, if you need to express yourself creatively in some way, whatever you're feeling in your heart as a stirring, when you gather with other women, you start to parse that out. So that's why I wanted this to be 6 months, because I want to give us ample time to be able to hold space for each other's emergence, not only from a healing perspective, but from a creation perspective. For those of you, for this first group coming in, I'm offering some really cool freebies. You'll get my wisdom kit mailed to you, which is a fun multi-sensory kit with goddess cards and all kinds of sensory items that were used in ancient feminine wisdom traditions. Anyway, they're all Mother Earth based. And you can also expect to get the Stand, Speak, Shine course free. I'm offering that for free for those of you who do the Women's Wisdom Circle. And then also you get a free session with me. So that looks like us taking 90 minutes together. And I call it a soul reading session, but I work with you intuitively and we look at some of the patterns that you're experiencing and some of the things from your past, what you're currently walking through. We look at your story, we look at your life, and then we define together what your next enlightened step is in terms of stepping into a purpose. What I have come to learn is not only are we being called to connect because separation is suffering, and it's an illusion that we ever were separate, but we've separated ourselves from each other. We separate ourselves from ourselves. So not only am I convicted that forging connectivity will help to alleviate suffering, but I'm also really, really clear on the fact that if you want to heal powerfully, you learn to express yourself. And that looks like using your voice, embracing your gifts, and really stepping into who you are authentically. So that's what the Women's Wisdom Circle is all about. And if you want a precursor to it in terms of what we'll be exploring from an emotional, holistic perspective, then for sure join the Masterclass. The Masterclass is standspeakshine.com/masterclass, and that's free. And then if you want to dive right in and check out the Women's Wisdom Circle and all that it entails and all the dates and everything where we're going to be meeting up for the Women's Wisdom Circle is standspeakshine.com/WWC. That's for Women's Wisdom Circle. So standspeakshine.com/masterclass, standspeakshine.com/WWC. So 2 offerings. I just wanted to give you, my listeners, the heads up on. I will be posting a lot about it in my Facebook community as well as on Instagram. And so I would love those of you who've been listening to me for a while to join me in the Women's Wisdom Circle. I think together we can create a lot of beauty, magic, and healing.